I would like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Suneet Varma, Mr. Ravi Bajaj, Ms. Jayashree Mishra, Vinita, and all of you. I would also like to thank you for making time in these odd even days and joining us to celebrate our recent publication. Times Group Books publishes books in all categories and formats, including coffee table books with special emphasis on non-fiction and spiritual books, repurposed from TOI content. We also do custom publishing. Just to tell you a bit about the book, Love is Always Right and Other Musings is an anthology of selected writing from Vinita's exceedingly popular column Ozone in Times Life, TOI's Sunday supplement. In the book, she offers a refreshingly uncomplicated take on issues of life, love, and livelihood in personal and professional spheres. The book offers practical, feel-good ways of dealing with contemporary chaos in thought and relationships. Vinita Dawra Nangia, the author, is an associate editor, author, columnist, and with TOI. A leading lifestyle journalist, her forte is her incisive writings on society, trends, and relationships. Vinita is director Write India, a venture she conceptualized to discover the next generation of writers. Her other works are It's Your Life and Fashion Fair. It's our privilege that our guests, Mr. Suneet Varma and Mr. Ravi Bajaj, have agreed to launch the book, while Jayashree would be engaging the author in a conversation during the course of the evening. Brand Varma stands for fantasy, sophistication, and pure femininity, while Ravi has been credited with single-handedly changing the face of Indian menswear. For him, less is more. And Jayashree is a strong voice in contemporary Indian writing with 8 books to her credit. I would now invite Vinita to say a few words.
Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome this evening here. It is something that I really believe in, it is connects. I really believe in connects. I believe in the connections that we are born with. I believe in connections that we forge in life and go ahead with. And I even believe in connections that we momentarily form and then leave behind us. I feel each of these connects gives something to us. You know, in the movie Kangana Ranaut, in the movie Queen, the scene that I loved best of all was where she walks along and with Lisa Hayden, and both of them are in Paris and they're just walking along, and she's talking away and there's a language barrier, so Lisa is not really able to understand what she's saying, but she goes on and on and on and on, and they forged a connect where at some point she sits down and Lisa even puts her head on her lap. So there's this beautiful connect between the two where they're not even understanding what the other person is saying, and yet there is an exchange of energy, yet there is an exchange of some searing soul companionship. And I feel that any of the connects that we formulate in life, whether momentary or those that last a lifetime, expose our own selves to us. They reveal what we truly are. They reveal our true selves. And when they go away, they are left behind as memories. But before they go, they have really told us so much more about ourselves than we knew, and we know ourselves much better and more in depth. Coming to connects, since I believe so much in this, I have over my career in Times of India done a lot of different things. I have started off doing news with the main newspaper. After that, I was shifted to Saturday Times, where I started working on features. One day I was told that I had to cover fashion, and I thought I knew nothing about fashion, and willy-nilly I became India's first fashion writer because there was no other at that point. And I started covering fashion at a time when fashion was just being started as an organized industry in India. So all the fashion designers who you know as top names today were just starting off, and they were friends, and we all kind of grew up together. And when I protested and said I know nothing about fashion, I cannot write about it, I was told go to the fashion designers and ask them. So in a way, these fashion designers became my teachers. They taught me. I remember Suneet Varma going across to him, and he would take me to the Adda and say, this darling is Zardozi. Just bend under the bed and see what it's like. And I would go across to Ravi Bajaj's boutique, and he would say, idara, look from the inside of the garment. Don't look outside. Outside, everybody knows that the garment is good or bad, but it's from the inside that you really come to know how good a fashion designer is. And right after that, he would say, now go to, I will not name the designer, her studio and check her workout. So it was a great learning. I would go to Ritu Kumar and I'd sit there and understand and learn a lot about fashion and a lot of designers at that time. And then along came this editor of mine, Prabha Chandran, who's sitting with us here today. And she was the one who really gave me wings in the world of fashion writing. She told me that, when I came back and I said, look, I've seen the fashion show, but I don't know what to write about it. I really don't know. I don't understand much beyond what I think. She said, write what you think. Just go ahead, forget everything else, write what you think, and your confidence will come from that. And it did. So now that great Fashion Connect, it's because of that I have these blasts from my fashion past here today to unleash this new book, to unveil it for me. Ravi, Bajaj and Suneet Varma, I welcome you onto the stage. Please come here and help me unveil. They're still directing me.
Under out. Okay, that also has to change. Close, closer there. Wait, see,
Talking about connections, the guy behind the camera who just said thoda close ho jao is Manoj Keshavani, who again is another connect from the past and is here as a guest today but insists on taking photographs. So he's here as well. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Suneet. Suneet and Ravi have been friends, my friends, for ever since we met each other for the first time. A lot of people from the fashion world have remained friends, but then there are very few who have remained friends and remained interested in the work that I've done, because from fashion I moved on to page 3, launching page 3, writing about parties and all that these guys used to have, crazy raving parties that all the fashion designers had covering those. And from there onwards, I completely stopped writing after I had enough of fashion and enough of page 3. And there was a long time when I refused to write anything at all. And then I came back and knew of that, but more about that later. To me, both of them have epitomized romance. They really have, which is why they are very apt for unveiling this book today. Romance not with each other, romance not with me. Yes, before Ravi. Yes. So, but romance with life, romance with themselves, and I really believe that romance is all about you yourself and never about another person or anything else. You can find romance anywhere. And I really want Suneet to talk about, because he talks beautifully about it, I want him to talk about how he looks at romance.
Thank you, Vinita, and many congratulations and for letting me be here today to have this great privilege to launch your book. I find that there is no other reason to live in life besides love. I know it's a very tall order, and I know it's a very large thing, but I find that there's a lot of love in the room today. I find everybody's gathered here because of love. So I find that love is sort of steeped in my work over the years, whether I write about love of architecture or love of poetry or love of costume. I find that every time I sit down to do something, the first thing I think about is love. And so that's all about my work. Thank you.
I think there's much more than that. It's romance that he infuses into every weave of his clothes. And you can feel it because he's so passionate about everything he does, whether it is writing, whether it is creating his clothes or creating even accessories for the clothes. He gets down to the minutest details himself, and that is, I think in life also when we do that, that is what romance is all about. I asked Ravi if I can ask him on stage to talk on love is always right and ask him, is love always right for you? And he kind of said, well, do you really want to do that? And so I said, okay, well, if you're uncomfortable with it, I will not ask you that. But Ravi, I do want to ask you that, looking at me, you've known me since my fashion days when I used to cover fashion. And today I'm writing a column which is, well, some people call it like philosophical and spiritual, but I kind of shy away from that word. I would like to say it is more about contemporary living and relationships. So how do you think a person changed so much, and do you find me really changed?
Okay, you shouldn't ask me these questions in public. Because last time I was here at your last book launch, it was this room, and I was just, sitting in the audience, and I think people were talking to her about her page 3 career, and you created page 3, and I sort of almost took umbrage to that, because she's much more than a page 3 editor. Nothing against page 3 editors, but she has much more depth as an author. So I just forced myself on the stage and I stood here and started giving it off. So she thought that's better to invite her this time, more graceful. So it's such a coincidence that Prabha is here, and like Vinita mentioned, so Prabha used to be the editor of Saturday Times. In those days, there was no page 3. Saturday Times covered lifestyle, in general. And Prabha said, and Prabha always used to come to the workshop to see the collection at hand before it was unveiled, before the show, 2-3 days or a week before the shows. And she said, oh, somebody has joined me, her name is Vinita, and she's not from fashion background, but she's going to take over and I want to introduce her. I'm like, Prabha, no, please, come on, I don't have the patience to now, sit with somebody and say, this is this and this is silk and this is cotton, whatever. Anyway, so Vinita came first time, and post that, before every show, she would come over into the workshop, like she mentioned. And she's the only journalist that I know who's done that, besides Prabha. No one has taken fashion that seriously that I would like to see them do it. And for that we owe a lot to Vinita, for really taking us seriously, for giving us the space that we think that we deserve, and so she's been very, very intentful there. Now, your question was, have you changed? I hope you've changed. I mean, you don't want to be, still covering Darzies.
From their home garage, and I remember meeting Ravi for the first time, and he told me everything there was to tell about fashion, and he was teaching me and telling me his work and how he does and what he does. At the end of it, we started chit-chatting, and he said, okay, so what does your husband do? And I told him he's in the Indian Revenue Services. He said, oh God, scratch it out, everything I told you, just scratch it all out from there.
Love throwing figures which wouldn't exist.
So interesting, and so much for my the blast from my fashion past. Thank you so much, Ravi. Thank you so much, Suneet, for being here with us today. Thank you.